Hello, Evolutionary Astrologer Bryan Colter here for your horoscope report for the upcoming Cancer new moon that happens on July 20th. And here we are having another Cancer new moon. And this Cancer moon is actually opposite Saturn in Capricorn, almost a direct opposition. So here we have this interplay between Cancer and Capricorn again, and really this axis, this polarity between these two symbols, I've been talking about a great deal throughout 2019 and 2020 because the nodes of the moon were in Cancer Capricorn. They just changed signs, but it's just been a major focus for me and every other astrologer out there pretty much. So here we are taking another look at it. We just had another Cancer new moon not too long ago. So before we wrap up this Cancer season, okay, what I mean by that is the sun is about to leave the sign of Cancer, enter Leo, so it's leaving water and entering into a fire sign. So things are about to heat up in a big way. And here, at least where I live in Portugal, my God, things are heating up literally. It's just been really hot and humid here, more so than normal. And I don't know if it's like that where you are, but here we are wrapping up Cancer energy. And really, Cancer is the sign of the healer. If we talk about the evolutionary intention through this lens known as evolutionary astrology, what's the evolutionary intention here? Broadly speaking, it's the new moon sign, okay? Cancer energy. Of course, we have to interact that with Capricorn and everything else going on, but really that's foundational. So first, we want to look at the moon's interactions with Saturn. Saturn in Capricorn opposite the moon, also opposite the sun, since it's a new moon. So Saturn, known as the greater Malefic, in this opposition, this stare down, and oppositions aren't a bad aspect. They're just hard. They're hard to deal with. It's a tension-based aspect. So what Saturn represents, what the moon and sun in Cancer represents, they're in tension with each other. But they're these polarities trying to find a balance point. It's like a teeter-totter. And the reason Saturn's called the greater Malefic is it has a certain, let's say, heaviness to it. Much like the nature of an opposition, I said it's kind of hard. That's just the energy of Saturn as well. Hard. We can be taught pretty tough lessons when there's strong Saturn stimulus. Now, the moon itself represents our feeling, represents our heart. And here it is in its own sign of Cancer, the sign it's said to rule, the sign closely linked to emotional sensitivity. So generally speaking, of course, it depends on your own personal birth chart and the interactions of where the planets are today. Generally speaking, people now are just feeling a little bit more intensely, they're a little bit touchier. And with Saturn interacting with the moon, the heaviness of Saturn can weigh pretty weighty on our hearts. And it can lead to feelings on the negative side now of loneliness, of depression, feelings like this, the heaviness on our heart, sorrow, things like this. So that's the low end. It's something to look out for. There's ways to remedy that, which we'll discuss. But on the high end, we can have some emotional resolve. We can have some self-discipline. We can be focused and diligent towards tending to our own needs, since this is about self-nurturing here. Some of us, again, depends on your own personal psyche and makeup. We give too much of ourselves. We're always tending to the needs of other people and not ourselves. So, Saturn in the sign of Capricorn represents more self-sufficiency, So tending to your own needs, licking your own wounds instead of other people. And Saturn's also known as the Lord of Solitude. So this is a great way, the interaction between these planets, to where we can really heal ourselves is finding some solitude, finding some mountaintop time. So where we can just breathe in, breathe out, quiet the mind to quell the riot inside, and just go within, So, even if you're in a busy house or a busy life, using the discipline, to sequester yourself into some secure corner of the house or go out in nature or something like this and just get some alone time. And if you're feeling any of those feelings I was talking about before, the heaviness of Saturn opposite the moon, this is one remedy or antidote to that, is finding some alone time where you can just go within and tend to the needs of your heart. Okay, that's the evolutionary intention on a more personal and inward level. On a more global level, Cancer, Capricorn axis has served as us healing from dark side of Capricorn, extreme dark side of Capricorn, which is the old outdated structures of power and control, the dark side of the patriarchy, which have been constricting us. We're feeling a little more hemmed in this year because they're ramping up their game, and we're feeling a bit claustrophobic, hence why we're about to enter into a very Aquarian phase here, which is much more about freedom, as we break free from the shackles of enslavement. Now, enslavement's kind of an extreme word, obviously not literal slavery, but in a sense, it's enslaving humanity, slavery masked as freedom. We just have a better jail cell, with a better view. And that's all starting to crumble. And our motivation to heal from that is causing this ramping up, this acceleration of events until we hit this fever pitch. And then we're going to head into a future that is defined by a lot more freedom and freedom of ideas, freedom of technology, things like this. Now, another major feature really of the next 2 weeks. Now, when I do these videos, these bi-weekly videos, new moon, full moon, they're really meant to represent the energy of a 2-week period of time, even though the literal new moon in this case is on July 20th. But this 2-week period of time, okay, is, yes, the Cancer Capricorn is heavy here, but really, in a way, even stronger is this Mercury, the planet Mercury, which, by the way, is also in Cancer, is in another hard angle known as a square, 90-degree angle. Okay, it applies friction between these two planets, Mercury and Mars. And there's one more involved, and that's Chiron, a planetoid. Okay, so you have Chiron and Mars, both in Aries, next to each other in the sky, Mercury in Cancer, and that hard angle hitting it. And this is, Mars in Aries is, I've been talked about in the last couple of videos, is really represented the next 6 months of energy. I think I talked about it in my summer solstice video I did about a month ago. So if you want to learn more about Mars and Aries, check out that video. But Mars rules Aries. It's really strong. So we've entered into the season of the warrior. We add into the Cancer energy, the mama bear sort of energy, the healer, nurturer. The mother's instinct is to protect the weak. The warrior's instinct is to protect the weak. Blend them together, you get the meta-archetype of the protector. Really, the 6-month wave we're in is the season of the protector. That's what I called a video not too long ago. Okay. So what are we protecting? Well, our own freedoms, mainly. But when we talk about Mercury in Cancer squaring both Mars and Chiron, and by the way, they'll be pretty much in a direct square throughout the rest of the month. Okay, so this is really the biggest feature of this 2-week period of time. This is, Mercury is the planet of communication and the planet of thoughts and perception. And here it is in this very reflective Cancerian sign at crossed purposes with Mars in Aries and Chiron in Aries. So, the healer and the warrior at cross purposes with each other. The planet of words and communication and perception, in a face-off with the warrior. So, Mars, the war god, has entered our mouths. Just sit with that image for a little bit and you get the picture. So on one level, this is a war of words. Okay? And of course, there's plenty of that. As people catapult their ideas over the walls of people's defensive ideologies. Okay? So a lot of war of words right now. That's not the highest expression, but we're certainly seeing it a lot. Here's another one. War on our perception. Been talking about that a lot too. And I will be talking about that a lot for the next year and a half. As the nodes of the moon, the north node will be in Gemini. Okay, that's the sign that Mercury rules. Okay, so really it's accentuated tremendously now. However, that's going to be a major theme at least over the next 6 months, probably trickle into 2021 as well. But war of words, war on perception, that's one of the control mechanisms to keep us in servitude, I guess you could say, to a certain degree, is controlling our perception. Because if you control the perception of the public, you control everybody, more or less. I'm always generalizing here, which is dangerous, talking to a wide audience. So that's more on a global level. Now you also have Chiron on the mix, the wounded healer. Okay, there's another vote for healing here. The need for us to heal from our collective wounds, okay, so that we're not constantly fighting with each other, okay, flinging one dogma at another dogma. It's like talking to a brick wall. Okay, so we're trying to heal from that. That's why I call this video the Wounded Warrior. Now let's contemplate this idea of the Wounded Warrior. So I want you to imagine there's an 18-year-old boy, okay, who is living in some country in the world where they have to do a military draft. Yeah. And his number gets called, and all of a sudden he's in the military. He wanted to be a librarian, now he's holding a rifle. Okay. He's very inexperienced in this theater of war. He ships off to his first battle. And there he is, fighting, doesn't know what the heck he's doing. And he gets shot in the arm, let's say. He gets wounded. Okay. How is he likely to respond? Now, before he got wounded, his hands were already shaken, he rightfully so. But imagine if he got shot, not a mortal wound, but, definitely got his attention. Well, he'd probably panic more often than not, more than he was already panicking. And he might go a little bit crazy, and not know where he's at and just kind of lose himself, be incredibly reactive instead of actively engaged and focused. Okay, he'd be a mess. And he'd probably be a danger to his own people in his team, or his platoon, or whatever you want to call it. Obviously, I don't, not that familiar with military vernacular. And then conversely, think of a battle-hardened warrior, like maybe a samurai or something like that. I got samurais on the brain because my partner and I just watched The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. I liked it. I was a little late to the party. That came out a while ago. But the discipline they had, the honor, which are very Saturnian words, by the way, okay, which we'll get to. Remember, Saturn's still in the mix. So there's the samurai, very experienced in war, in the heat of battle. Obviously, he's not getting shot in the arm, probably. It's probably a nasty sword cut on the arm. What's going to happen to him? Well, maybe nothing, and he might even get more focused. That's probably more likely, more focused. Time might begin to slow a little bit. He'll get in the zone. It's like, that's not good. Could be a precursor to death. In the cauldrons of experience, this battle-hardened warrior becomes even stronger, okay, in the face of this very tenuous situation, needless to say. Recognize the polarity between the two, okay? One is very reactive, fear-stricken, panic-stricken. The other one's in the zone because there was a level of training and maturity to get to that place, whereas the 18-year-old didn't have that experience, okay? So there's the polarity I'm painting out for you. Both sides of the spectrum of the wounded warrior. And here we are in this war of perception, this war of words. Yeah. People who aren't working with this in an experienced, evolved way can be pretty volatile with their mouth, can attack other people, be overly defensive, be reactive. Okay? Now, trying to control the negative side of Saturn, trying to control other people's beliefs, even though in the war of words, no one will win, or we can say disciplined, we can stay mature, we can stay steely with our resolve, okay, which are more high-end, evolved Saturn words. Okay, where we can stay firmly focused in our rationale and give you straight intelligence, and we can still speak our truths, but do it in a much more grounded way. Saturn in Capricorn is very grounded. So there's two different perspectives. One is a low consciousness reaction. One is a higher consciousness action. Okay? And both are, of course, there's shades of gray in between, as always, but both are available to everyone on Earth right now. Okay. Now, as we contemplate the more, let's say, evolutionary intention, it kind of is obvious on the global level, but let's talk about it on a personal level. Okay, what's the evolutionary intention for me, primarily, over the next couple of weeks? Yeah. Well, as always, it kind of depends on the tenor of your psyche, who you are. And this is why doing this type of astrology where you're generalizing to a wide audience can be a little dangerous. And that's because it really depends on your own individual frequency or energetic texture to understand what the evolutionary intention here really is between these two planets. Can mean one thing for one person and another for another. So it's always important that you know yourself really well, or if I was sitting with you counseling, that I'm obviously looking at your birth chart and the advice would shift depending on that information. But the war god has entered our mouths. Now, what if you're a more warrior-esque type of person anyways, right? Maybe you're more of an action-oriented person. Maybe you really embody this hero archetype. You're good under pressure, You leap into battle. You're just a colorful character, in other words. You have spunk and verve, You probably don't need a little more chili powder in your stew, needless to say, okay? So in that case, the war god entering your mouth, I would counsel caution. Okay, so you don't shoot off at the mouth and become reactive, because with these planetary combinations, you're likely to be, could be anyways, if you step into the reactive zone, be a little bit more snippy or sharp tongue, maybe a little bit more irritable too. Yeah. So in that case, I would recommend a steady dose of exercise to get a little bit of that extra edge off. Okay, and then try to relax your temperament a little bit and just realize the energy that's currently filtering through your consciousness with these two planets. And also be aware that you might get caught up in a little bit of self-righteousness in your speech, So again, probably just want to scale it back a little bit, realizing that the war god is on your tongue, armed and dangerous, ready to fight. Conversely, let's say you have a lot of water energy in your chart. You're a Pisces sun with a Cancer moon, something like this, and a Libra rising. In other words, you're just a sweetheart, and you're more probably susceptible to the, let's say, passive-aggressive behavior that's available to us. Okay, so war god enters your mouth. It's time for you to be more assertive. Put yourself out there. Defend yourself. Learn to expand your comfort zones and try to use the right use of force. Now that line, the right use of force, I would say for the more fiery character and for the less fiery character, okay, it's always about the right use of force. The fiery character is more likely to, use too many torpedoes, okay, whereas the other person is more likely to not use enough. So you see the distinction there. It really depends on who you are as a person. But let's say the meeker person really needs to set stronger boundaries. It's time for you to leverage this war god sitting in your mouth. Okay, so that you can grow, so that you can expand your consciousness. The growth is always the thing that's not as easy to do, generally speaking. So I've laid out the low expression, the high expression, pretty much on two ends of the extreme. Okay, there's always in between, of course, but you want to present that juxtaposition between light and dark so you can pinpoint where you feel you are on that scale and always strive for the higher consciousness expression, embodiment of energy that stems from love and light, and know what to avoid. And also develop a certain level of compassion of the people who are not doing so hot on the lower end of the scale, and realizing that this energy flowing through them they're unaware of, and that's part of their growth process. But always, when I focus in anything in life, but especially with the astrology too, it's like, how can we take this information, okay, armed with this insight, always strive for the highest expression, with the goal always being to expand our consciousness. Now, at this point, I'm going to transition to the guided meditation, where we'll use the astrological information to inform us into a very specific meditation that will help us to perceive reality more clearly and work with this energy with more awareness. And I do use a technology called binaural beats, where if you wear headphones, it has a slightly different tone in each ear, which will help you to sink into a meditative state. And especially with Mercury square Mars, it's not always easy to get into that meditative state. So that can help you. Enjoy. Begin with nice, slow breaths into your stomach. Nice and even breathing. In, out. Make sure you have a nice straight spine. And you're sitting, laying down comfortably. Nice and steady breaths. Breathe into your stomach first and then your lungs. And as you exhale, breathe out from the stomach first and then the lungs. And make sure the in and the out breath is even. And that there's no pause between the exhale and the inhale. And feel how the tissues of your body expand as you inhale and return back to normal as you exhale. And pay attention to your body. Feel how, as you inhale, your skin touches the fabric of your clothing. And as you exhale, feel yourself relax even more. In, out. Now feel you're in your entire body. And place your attention on the bottom of both of your feet. There's a grounded feeling in your feet. And notice any sensations as you focus on your feet. You might feel them become warmer or more relaxed. Or you might notice a slight tingling. Because where your attention goes, energy flows.
energy is flooding into your feet. And visualize a beautiful white color in both of your feet. And now bring that white color up into your ankles, and then your calf muscles and lower legs. Now up into your knees, thighs, hips, buttocks, the whole pelvic floor region. And now see both of your legs shining in a bright white color. Now focus on your lower back. Feel all the tension and muscles begin to relax in your lower back. And now your middle back, upper back. Still use the white color. Now back down to your stomach area and the solar plexus. Now in the chest area. See if you can feel your heartbeat in your chest. Continue with a nice slow breathing. Now in your right shoulder, right upper arm, right elbow, right forearm, and your right hand. And in your mind's eye, visualize bringing the palm of your right hand in front of your face. And see a tiny blue dot in the center of your palm of the right hand. Now bring your attention back up the right arm and across your shoulders into the left shoulder now. See that white color descend into the upper arm. Now the elbow, forearm, wrist, and now the left hand. And in your mind's eye, bring your left hand up in front of your face and see the palm of your left hand. And see a tiny red dot in the palm of your left hand. And focus on that dot. Now lower your arm in your mind's eye and move your attention up the arm and come back into the chest area. And see a beautiful pink color in and around your chest, shining in all directions around you. This is a wonderful healing quality, the vibration of pink. It heals your emotions and balances your desires. With each inhale, see this pink color grow brighter and brighter. And feel feelings of love for yourself, honoring your journey thus far. Feel compassion for how far you've come. Now bring your attention up into the throat area and see the color orange, bright orange in your throat, right around the thyroid. And it's a small sphere about the size of your fist in and around your throat. And as you inhale, the orange gets stronger and brighter. And as you exhale, it maintains the same brightness. Now bring your awareness up into the center of your head. And now see a canary yellow color in and around your head, in the shape of a brilliant golden sun. See the sun grow brighter and brighter as you inhale, and as you exhale, radiate out in all directions. As you focus on this color, it balances your thoughts and intentions, and will allow us to do this deep work. If you get distracted from the visualization, it's okay, just refocus your mind as best you can. You're training your ability to visualize and concentrate clearly. Brighter as you inhale, shining in all directions as you exhale. Now, I want you to visualize a situation in your mind. It might have been an event you've already experienced recently, or you can make up a new event. But I want you to see yourself in a situation where there's tension with somebody else, or maybe a group of people. And maybe there's some anger there, some sort of confrontation. And I want you to visualize your behavior in this situation, but come from the most perfect version of yourself, navigating this tense situation flawlessly. If you tend to be a more aggressive person, visualize yourself reeling it back and somehow diffusing the situation with action that stems from love and light. Visualize how you feel empowered, strong. Visualize what you're seeing, what you're hearing. See the expressions of the people around you change for the better. If you tend to be a more mild-mannered person, See yourself standing up for yourself or somebody else you love, becoming the healer, the protector, the hero. Not from reaction, but action. The right use of force. And again, imagine how you feel. Stronger, courageous, acting from your higher self. Now I want you to return your awareness back into your body and feel you are in your entire body. And see yourself start to glow in a beautiful blue-white color, shining in all directions and filling your entire aura that's shaped like an egg. And feel every cell of your body harmonize with this luminous color as you cultivate more and more light in your consciousness. And whenever you're ready, you can start coming back into waking consciousness. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed this meditation. I'll see you next time. Thank you.